Queen, and welcome to the Queen V codes. You are here for the second installation of our little online virtual mini camp. Why is it a camp and not just a course? Because camp is a little more fun. Camp takes us to a place of a bit of adventure, and I am inviting you, queens, come on out and play outside your comfort zone. Because if you are already in a leadership role, whether it's a self-leadership role, a peer leadership role, maybe you are a rising coach, an entrepreneur, maybe you're a female executive, right at the top of her game, you know that real growth doesn't happen when we're 100% comfortable. Sorry about that. Not sorry. Queen V codes. These are codes that came to me, just over my whole life. At this point, at the time of recording, 51 plus years, getting younger all the time. The Queen codes are something that every woman can use. Every reina who identifies as she, her. I'm a bilingual queen, Spanish and English, and hang out around my channels. We're going to do an Espanol version of this one as well. Training to que viva your vision. All women who are visionaries can see where they're headed. And as queens, or as someone with a queen inside that would like to get out, it is our right and our responsibility to lead from that emerging future, to take our vision, to download it, and to start walking the walk, raising our voice. That was step one. Go back and watch if you haven't, so that we can realize that vision. So I've got 3 points for you in this little section of mini camp. We've already had a campfire, we're staying up a little bit late, and we're going to lean in. Speaking of vision, you know I got my vision board right next to me. It's blurred so you can't see it, but I can. There I am as a baby. There I am as a story for another day, my burlesque persona. No one would have ever guessed. Your vision. Once it is solidified in you, then we can bring in the collective, right? Because if I have a vision and it's only mine and it's only for me and the people I like and the ones that look like me, y las que hablan como yo, in this world of 8 billion, we're going to ask you to go ahead and expand. And all of our leadership around the globe, right up here, across lines, we've got our blues, we've got our reds, we've got our energy that I am not convinced is the only energy that we are going to need to thrive as a species, not as the only species on the planet, but one that recognizes its interdependence with all of the critters, with all of the oxygen producing plants, with the ocean, with the mountains, the streams and the creeks. We need all of it, and we are part of all of it. And so, point number 1, que viva your vision, is to recognize this little quote from The Little Prince, Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. That's my French accent for you. Only with the heart. It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye. Okay, so in the societies in which we are raised, if you happen to be watching me, we are forward focused, we go ahead. This is our tunnel. We talk about staying in our lanes. We talk about our pillars. We live in societies that are like this, and a heart is not two-dimensional. Look, I got one right here. I love that, right? From my own love. And the one inside my body is 3-dimensional. So let's recognize that we can only see rightly when we exist in 3 dimensions. Check out this 3 dimensions. Imagine yourself inside your entire sphere, your sphere of influence of what you can control. It's all around you, but it's not only there. So in order to drop into our 360-degree space, get out of here, we need to be comfortable in our bodies. Performance athletes know that they need to visualize their success. They need to, from outside, see themselves becoming the most spectacular version of themselves, able to execute that incredibly complex task for which they've trained and trained and trained in a given moment of probably a lot of high pressure. 360 degrees. So if you're watching me at home, spin around in your chair, spin once the other way, and just even move your arms around. You're like, well, that's not very corporate or professional. That's okay. I also invite leaders in corporate America to do this. It may or may not be what they expect when they show up to leadership camp within their corporate offices. And when I show up, they know that we are in for something a little bit different. So that is number 1, recognizing that here we see rightly together with what we got up here and also what is happening in our physical body. The second thing that I'm going to give you, and this is a really fun one, I'm going to do a super condensed version of it. And if you want more, reach out to me. I've got a whole masterclass on this. This is one that I have taught for decades and I absolutely love. I learned it when I was a wilderness leader, teaching leadership, applied experiential leadership in the outdoors. And I wondered if it was proprietary. And doing a little investigation, I recognized actually these ideas go back to Hippocrates. So thanks to the ancient Greeks and thanks to everyone who has brought it down to this plane for you and I to learn today, Queen. Bird's eye view of what type of leader you are, not only to yourself, but also to others. So here we're going to do a quick thing, and we're going to use this little virtual box that we got, and we're going to go to this side of the screen if we are one way, to this side of the screen if we are another. We're going to come in real close if we're another way, and we're going to come in back here. So imagine 4 quadrants. And that is where we are going to divide ourselves up to give us a little framework to understand more about our own essence, you about your essence, and having those codes of your leadership preferences is going to allow you to reach so many more people. So here we go. Hang on one second. I'm gonna have a sip of water. We're going to take 2 elements that occur in nature, that occur in us, that make up our nature. So a strong breeze is blowing, a directional wind. Where I live, the north wind comes strong in the winter. So the people who are on this side of this spectrum, this continuum, are ones who are incredibly direct. They come at you with a gale force. They need this, they know what they need, they know when they need it, and they know who's going to get it done for them, and it might be you. That end of the spectrum. Now, you might not be that extreme, you might be sort of like that, and then here's a dividing line. You got to choose this side or this side. Over on this extreme, we are queens that go with the flow. We are much more like that water element, like our water nature. I don't know, you can decide where we eat tonight, or I don't really care how you have your team approach the project. Just go ahead and get back to me and let me know as long as it's on time. Going with the flow. So maybe you're a flowy person and maybe you're direct like a breeze. Decide where you are. All right, from there, we're going to do one more. those of us who are very passionate or very sad or very angry, it's because we are very much identified with our emotional selves. This may or may not mean that you have the emotional intelligence to go along with it, but you are guided by and connected to your emotions. The hotheads. Well, backing that up, if we are super cool, we are not getting all emotional and bent out of shape. Let me get the numbers, let me crunch them, and then I'll get back to you with how I feel about that. So folks who are back there are much more rational. Okay, so you were either more like the wind, more go with the flow, and you were either more emotional or more rational. So let's look at those quadrants. So let's start back here. If you are very direct and also very rational, you are an alpha queen. That means you know what you want, you know when you want it, you know exactly what needs to happen in order for dun, 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 dun to happen. Alpha queens love that. You're doers, you can get a lot done. Did you ask anybody how they were doing? How their weekend was? If they were tired? If they were on their moon cycle? You might have forgotten. If you are an alpha queen, you are like an eagle. Love that one. Still over here, up with the breeze, but more connected to emotions and thoughts and feelings and chatter. We know what we're doing, let's go! Because we're so excited. That is what drives us. We are like the parrots. We are cheerleading queens. We are enthusiastic. And we haven't done any of the math, but we just know that it's going to be great. Parents, that might be your bird. If you are super excited, super emotional about what you're doing, you may also be super emotionally attached to doing it your way. And when somebody wants to do it their way instead of yours, that might throw you off balance. You and your big, big emotions. All right, parrot girl. Let's stay here in the emotional side, but come on back over to the go with the flow vibe. So if I go with the flow and I care a lot about my emotions, I also care deeply about yours. The queens in this quadrant are lovebirds. They care deeply about other people. They let other people choose, they will follow them, they will support them. Something to keep in mind if you are a lovebird, that you may be putting other folks' needs before your own. Keep that one in mind. And then here we go, back in that thing up, we're going with the flow, and we are measuring. We're doing the math, we're reading the data set, and then we are going back to how the data set was constructed. We're making sure that the correct questions were asked. And if this is you, Queen, you may have listened to this whole thing with a good amount of skepticism. You are an owl. You've got these big eyes. You've got this ability to swivel your head about 270 degrees. That's about 3/4 of a circle. You can see a lot. You analyze. And if you are a leader from this role for yourself, for your team, that's right, you might get stuck in analysis paralysis. All right, so we have our eagle alpha queens. We've got our enthusiastic parrot chatterbox. Let's go get them, queens. We have got our lovebird queens. How was it for you? And we have got our wise owls. They're not taking flight until they have calculated the risk. Did you see yourself? Your vision. of what you are going to do, of how you're going to do it, is unique to you. When we gain some self-awareness, some recognition about who we are in each of these quadrants, then we can also say, oh, well, where's my second in command? Where's my partner? Where's my mama? Where's my daughter? Where is my virtual assistant with whom I have all of these communication challenges, right? We have to be able to use our voice, but if we want to communicate that vision to all of the birds in the flock, to birds not of a feather with us, like I have bird feathers with me, I really am all about the birds. We need to be able to do that in a language that others can understand. Okay, Queen, que viva your vision. The code will come to you when you take a look in the mirror. So that is the last piece that I am going to leave you with. Anybody else a child of the 80s? Take a look in the mirror. My man Bruce, I want to change my clothes, my hair, my face, but I ain't getting nowhere. Use that mirror. Use that mirror. Grab your voice that is Viva, that is well alive from the first episode of our mini camp, and talk to yourself, talk to her. When you are not getting what you want from that lovebird or from that owl, whichever bird you are, recognize that you have every single thing inside of you that you need. I don't have any queen codes that you don't have for yourself. Drill down. Use your breath. Think from here. Fly up high, get that bird's eye view, and then come back and tell yourself every single thing that you need to hear. Well, my so-and-so didn't tell me that, and my mother didn't, my father, my brother. You have the power to tell yourself exactly what you need to hear. I do this in my own mirror. I can actually see one of my mirrors. I even have some whiteboard markers, and I wrote on my mirror about stuff that I'm working on. Okay, viva your vision. From this place of self-awareness is where we can then step into bringing that vision to life, leading from that emerging future, doing the step-by-step practices, the work we love, the work that we don't really like all that much, but have to get done anyway, on our way to where we are headed. Queen, thank you so much for dropping in, coming on back to camp. You know, we got one more episode, and I can't wait to see you back here. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Elizabeth Hammond. I believe that there is a new leadership on the horizon, and so step at a time, I'm heading out towards it. Are you coming along? I sure hope so. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Queen, que viva your vision.